Konnichiwa mina, boku wa Jeremy desu. Yoroshiku onegai shimasu. Sailor Moon Crystal, another episode, Act 24, Attack Black Lady, and lots of stuff to cover, so let's go with it. There are only 2 more episodes left before this incarnation of Sailor Moon Crystal finishes. There's still no news yet as of whether or not the series is officially going to be continuing on or not. Obviously, Toei Europe said it was, but it was kind of misconstrued a little bit. Really not sure. Anyway, we'll get into that in a little bit. So, basically, the episode starts off where the other one left off, just like normal, and it is where Black Lady has appeared. She introduces herself as the Queen of Nemesis, and her face is really distorted. Like, they keep kind of flashing. It's just weird. They show these different angles of it. It's incredibly angular, very, very pointy. This is, again, continuing on with the unfortunate design flaws of the characters, never, ever maintaining any kind of solid, proper form all the way through. Like, it's constantly changing, which is just bizarre. And she's not the only one that has this happen in this episode. Other ones include King Endymion and Diana and Artemis, actually. So those are the ones that really stood out to me the most. Anyways, and what's really sad about this is the fact that the graphics in the background are actually really good. It's like they paid way more attention to the backgrounds than the characters, kind of like when you watch Studio Ghibli stuff, which I'm not a huge fan of myself, but that's one thing I noticed with that, is that their backgrounds in Studio Ghibli movies are very, very well done, well thought out, but the characters themselves are kind of, I don't know, it's almost like a secondary thing, and that's what it feels like with Crystal a little bit here. When we see the disintegration of the buildings and stuff, for example, and it shows them like disappearing, it's kind of like something reminiscent of Reboot back in the day when they'd show buildings kind of defragging or fragging or whatever you want to call it. That's what it looked like, was the fragging as it's going up. And it looked really, really neat. In contrast to the weird angular faces and stuff, it's really bizarre. And it's kind of, I don't know, it's kind of distracting a little bit. One of the major differences that I've noted is like when the new Malefic Crystal comes down, Black Crystal, instead of people disappearing like it shows in the manga, they just show the buildings. And this is another time that they've done this. They show, rather than focusing on children and people and stuff, it's the buildings and stuff that are disintegrating more, so you don't actually see life being lost as much. I don't know if they do that on purpose or if it's just something they glossed over. Who knows? But anyway, Prince Demand and Saphir appear, and one of the most interesting things that you notice pretty much right away, or at least I picked up on, and I don't know if you guys did, but you look at their eyes. Saphir, you can tell he's totally under the spell of Wise Man, just like Tuxedo Command is under Black Lady's spell and so on. But Demand's eyes are perfectly normal. He is completely untouched by the spell, and you can tell this even before he reveals it, just by looking at their eyes. And so they appear, they have these powers. Saphir has this weird phantom hand thing, and Prince Demand has that demon eye thing that he's had all along. Saphir never really mentioned his demonic hand thingy-majigger, so it almost feels like a secondary last-minute plot point sort of a thing, kind of like Chuck Pratt does on Young and the Restless and other soap operas and stuff, just throw shit in there. But anyway, we'll get to that another time. And so they appear and they're doing their thing, and they're all, well, we're going to attack you, blah, 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 blah. And Tuxedo Command actually attacks Sailor Moon with the moon rod that they created together, which really, really takes her back. And she realizes that he honestly doesn't see her. He's not looking at her. He's just totally not there. Which I think later on when Black Lady grabs him and kisses him, it does affect her, but not as much as it should, because she realizes already that he's under her control. And it's kind of like, and this is going to fast forward a bit, and hopefully it's not too much of a spoiler for you guys that haven't seen Sailor Stars yet, or the manga, because in the original anime of Sailor Stars, they do it totally differently, but Tuxedo Command is used by Sailor Galaxy and Sailor Stars, and she kisses him, and there's that whole thing there too. There's nothing in his eyes. And that's the parallel that I drew between these two. And so it seems to follow it throughout the manga. Poor Tuxedo Kid, man. He gets used a lot. Yeah. Anyway, so Sailor Moon has a realization of how she felt. She sees Black Lady's feelings kind of as hers when she was so jealous of Chibiusa when she first came down, and it's like a personalization thing of it. And when she calls out to Chibiusa via Black Lady, Sailor Pluto's voice is the one that appears like that Black Lady remembers, and it's not actually Sailor Moon's that gets through to her, but it's Pluto. So you get that little first kind of look into what's going to happen in the next episode there, that it's Pluto that affects her, not even so much the other one. She's totally oblivious to that, not even fazed by it, but because she has such a strong connection with Sailor Pluto, that's what's going to come into play here. So basically the Senshi are rendered useless because of Prince Demand's attack and the Phantom Hands and stuff, and Black Lady forms another crystal, and it's just sucking the life out of everything. When you see Artemis and Luna, Artemis, like I said earlier, looks really weird. He looks like a big fat white cat and reminds me of Hercules, as the English name was in the first English dub with Deke, but it was Rhett Butler, or a kind of a play on the name Rhett Butler from Gone with the Wind. That's the character's name, the cat. And he looks like that, and then he doesn't, and then his face is all weird. I don't know, the cats, aside from Luna, like both Artemis and Diana were really weird in this one. And I don't know, Artemis's voice is weird. And Diana's voice, I miss Diana from the original series in Japanese. Like, she's the only Diana voice I ever liked. I never liked the one with Cloverway when they did it. I thought she sounded horrible. I really did, and I hope that whoever voices Diana in the Viz English dub, I really hope you can capture that cute little cuteness. I would love it if Sugar was Diana. That would be so hilarious. That would be a wonderful little kind of nod. Absolutely wonderful, but we won't know until Super S because it's completely different in the original series. So, all this is going on. Wise Man, he's like, if you want them back, give yourself to me. So you've got this whole kind of rape undertone again. It's so weird, and the first season and even this one are kind of, you never really pay that much attention, or at least I never did until now. There's so much control there. Even Prince Demand is talking about having love by force. All these undertones of it's like rape of sorts. It's weird. This whole control thing, the whole season is based on control, basically. And in the meantime, you've got Tuxedo Kid who's under control, like under this spell. It's weird, and how it doesn't affect King and Endymion. It's you have to suspend reality or your way of thinking for this. So Sailor Moon stands up and she uses the silver crystal, and everybody's like, "What the hell? How is this possible?" And so on. And Prince Demand realizes what's going on. He knows that he's been used all along. He realizes this. He can see through Wise Man's deception because his power in the last episode that he tried to use to control him didn't faze him because of the eye, and it's ironic. He even says that. And so he stands up to Wise Man, and then Saphir, who's under Wise Man's control, attacks Demand, and Demand he apologizes, and he just disintegrates his brother, basically. And totally different from the musical. Really, really different, because Saphir is the one that's in control in the musical. And I like that little change. The musicals are doing that neat thing where they deviate from the story just enough. But it gives that little bit of difference and makes them their own, which I think actually makes me like that series better than the anime that's going on right now, just because it is so close to the manga. So it's like, I shouldn't say I like it better, it's just Sailor Moon Crystal is the animation version of the manga, essentially. And the musicals are their own entity, just like the live-action series was, just like the original anime was, and so on and so forth. So it's all really weird, but we'll get to that again. So Prince Demand attacks Wise Man, and the cloak flies off, and we see a corpse. Now in the manga, it's a skeleton, clearly a skeleton, not a corpse. And you can see the skeleton, hopefully. But it's a corpse in this one, which makes more sense because they're talking about a corpse. And so there's that little bit of a change there. And all the meanwhile, you see Pluto, and she's stuck in time space. She can't get out of there. She's not allowed to leave. She remembers talking to Queen Serenity, not Neo Queen Serenity, but Queen Serenity, as a little girl. And I think it's adorable, little Pluto with the time key there. But the time key also is warped weirdly. Like, it's big and it's small. It's kind of like the original series. It was like that too. There's actually a difference between the time key in the original Sailor Moon R to S, Super S, and Stars, all that. Between R and S, it changes. It's weird. You'll have to look if you don't believe me. It does change. Wise Man comes down as the giant planet Nemesis and tries to crush the Crystal Palace, and Sailor Moon is able to use the Silver Crystal against him. Now, when he comes down, it kind of reminds me of when Amakusa Shiro Tokisara from Samurai Spirits, or Samurai Showdown, and Hasoji Mizuki also. Just that big, giant kind of skull, like, planety thing comes down. Very reminiscent of that. That's my little thing there. And also, as this is all going on, there's like devastation everywhere, and you see the Crystal Palace on this kind of island amongst this water all over the place. Reminds me of the Never-Ending Story a little bit, when the Nothing is coming down and just engulfing everything. So parallel there a little bit as well. So Pluto is upset. She wants to help, but she knows she can't because there's the taboo. And then Diana comes running to her with this weird big alien face. I don't know what the hell is going on with Diana in this. I don't like her new voice. I really don't. And her face and the way she's drawn is just really weird. And so I miss the old one, honestly. But she's still really cute. They have a cute moment, and I totally meant to grab this, actually. As she's talking to Sailor Pluto, she pulls the whole little cat thing with the little paw up like that. And she's like, I'll stand guard. I don't have any powers, but you go and you help them. And it's really actually quite cute, and Pluto's happy. And she goes to join in the battle. But yeah, I do miss Diana's adorable little voice. And I really think it would be cute if Sugarland Beard came on as Diana in the Viz English dubs. I think that would be great. So Pluto joins the team just as Sailor Moon is using the crystal. She can't hold it anymore, and she's like, fine, take it, but I want you to come back as the proper Chibiusa that we love, we're annoyed with, we love, blah, blah, blah. Tuxedo Command as Endymion grabs the crystal, and Usagi turns back into herself, and Black Lady has the two crystals. Well, our Demand comes along, grabs the crystals, and is about to put them together, which will essentially destroy everything. Which is weird, because it seems like that's what Black Lady was going to do, but now she doesn't want him to do it. And Pluto's there, and everybody's there, and they're like, oh my god, what the hell's going to happen? And it like kind of ends on a cliffhanger there. In the next episode, they show that there's definitely going to be lots of stuff with Sailor Pluto. They did that in the musical very well, and I don't care. I'm pretty sure the musical is going to have done it so much better than the episode, just from what I remember of reading of the manga and stuff. When you have real people portraying the roles in like a real kind of situation, it hits you a lot harder, the emotion and stuff, and the way the actresses did it in the hell is that? There's La Reconquista and then Petite Étrangère. The way they did it, the Pluto actress and the Black Lady actress, the emotion, and even the Chibiusa actresses, just they hit it bang on. And if Crystal can do this, I will be amazed. But I still think that the musical is going to have tackled it better. I really do. Now, yeah. So that's pretty much the episode in a nutshell. There's 2 left, basically, to wrap things up. We know that Sailor Pluto's going to die, kind of, but it's weird, because Pluto and Saturn are like, there's like the resurrection thing, I don't know. Pluto and Saturn are switched, because technically Pluto should be the death one, and Saturn controls time, but for whatever reason they changed it, and it's an interesting dynamic. But anyway, tomorrow, Sunday, June the 21st, Father's Day, is my radio show's 10th anniversary. Technically Friday, June 19th was the anniversary, but because my show falls on a Sunday, it's different. So check it out, thex.ca, 2 to 4 p.m. Pacific time. There should be some Sailor Moon stuff. I'm going to throw a lot of Sailor Moon music in there. And, yeah. Japanese music at its best. Thank you for watching this and all my other reviews so far, you guys. We'll talk again sometime soon. And Sugarland Beard is coming to Anime Revolution. We were able to finally announce that. And Jessica G. George, whose pets in Sailor Moon are as well. But we'll talk more about that later. Jamata ne minna. Bye-bye.